Hi, class. My name is Julie Schwans. I'm your teacher here for Contemporary Math, Math 45. And I hope that you enjoyed this semester. I'm doing this little video to show you a little tour of our classroom. Let me share my screen. So what you should do is you should go to the Fresno City College main website. And you click on My Port in the very top right corner. So let me just pause here and pull that up quickly for you. So you would go to Fresno City College .edu, the Fresno City College website, and then you would click on My Portal in that top right corner. Then you can click on Sign In here, and you can sign in. If you don't have your sign-in information, you can look for more information in your schedule of courses. And you can also, there is tech support all the time for how to successfully get into Canvas. So you can call a tech number as well. You can find that on the main page again. There's technology help. So I believe that is, you have to just look under these. As you scroll over these, you'll see different options here and under one of them is technical support. So you can find technical support and if you cannot get into Canvas, but hopefully all of you guys are able to get into Canvas. Once you so let me pause. So once you log in, you should come to a screen that looks like this. Mine already has Canvas as an option. So if it doesn't have Canvas as one of the options, you can use this search bar at the top right corner to put Canvas in. These are just my favorite, most used apps. So it automatically comes up on my list. It may not automatically come up on your list. Like I said, if that does not happen, you can enter it in the search bar here to find Canvas. Anyways, you're going to click on Canvas. And then it brings you into this dashboard where it shows you all the different classes that you are enrolled in. Now, our class is not published yet, so it's not showing up in Canvas quite yet, but for sure on Monday it will show up. It'll be there for you. So then you click on these little squares and you're looking for Math 45, and if you're in the 22238 section or 22336 section, you're going to click on the same one. Click on this one, or at least it looks the same on my side. So we click on this one. And yours is going to look a little bit different. This left-hand column automatically opens up for me with some options, and it opens up to what we call our home page. And I have class. So yours is going to look a little different. Let me just show you what yours kind of. I'll click on student view here so you can kind of see what yours is probably going to look more like this. So I have a little welcome message, and I have why study math, and then I also have information here on how to get to the syllabus. So you're just going to click on syllabus in the left-hand column to get to the syllabus, and then you're going to I kind of made it a little bit just cleaner looking, because then you did have to click one more time on this link to the syllabus, and that's how you're going to view the syllabus. And there's lots of great information here on the syllabus. So I can click to go back to the home page to get back to this home page. Okay. Next, you can, I have a list of materials here needed. So you want to have a scientific calculator, or if you have a graphing calculator or a higher level calculator, we want it to be able to do square roots, to square things. We want to be able to just do some all the things that a typical scientific calculator would do. So a graphing calculator has all of those as well. So if you have one of those, that's fine. If you don't, usually a scientific calculator is like $20 at like Walmart or so, but you could borrow one from the library if you're, I would go there quickly to make sure that you secure yourself one. You also are going to need for this class access to MyMathLab, and that is an online homework program that I've kind of connected together with the Canvas page. So maybe it doesn't look like it looks like all one page. It's all just Canvas that you're going to see when you're going to be accessing homework. But I'm actually using another website and connected it to Canvas. So that website is called MyMathLab. And in order to get to any of your homework or textbook, you need to get access. You need to purchase access to that to the MyMathLab. And the textbook that we're going to be using is the Excursions in Modern Mathematics, edition by Peter Tenenbaum. You can buy access to MyMathLab that has the textbook included. It used to be they always included it, but I'm not sure now. And it looks like if you buy only the 18-week, it may not include the e-textbook. But I believe you can buy like a 24 week, so you get longer access to the program and everything. I know you don't need that much access, but that it just includes the e-textbook for sure. And I believe it includes something that's called Pearson Plus, and Pearson Plus access is where you can get to your textbook through your phone or through other devices. It makes it a little if for those of you that prefer to have stuff like that. So you may want to get that 24-month access, I believe, just to make sure to have the textbook and make sure to have to get the app as well. But I believe that 24-month, it comes with the app as well, but I'm not so sure about the app. But anyways, there is another option of either just buying a physical textbook, or you can also rent the textbook for $11.99, I think, a month, and then you get the e-textbook. I think it's just the e-textbook. If they don't come together, if the MyMathLab access and e-textbook don't come together, then you can get that, or you can just rent the e-textbook. And I believe that one comes with the Pearson Plus app for your phone. So anyways, then I would like you to have a notebook and pencils so that you can and I would like you to take notes on every lecture that I post. So what are you going to be doing in this class? You're going to be watching lectures, recorded lectures at your leisure at your own time. There's no required live sessions that you have to go to. And there's no in-person sessions that you need to attend either. So I fixed it up so that you guys have about 3 or 4 assignment sections to do, or assignments really, where you have to watch a lecture and you have to do a homework. That you have to do that 3 or 4 times each week. I think like the beginning of the semester, I can't remember. So usually I try to give you Mondays off or Fridays off. I think I really focus on trying to give you always Fridays off, but usually Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday you have assignments due. And sometimes Mondays. I tried to be consistent so it's not confusing to you guys. You also have at the end of every chapter and or module, like you have different modules that are packets of work, but I just put it in module is the same as like chapter. So anyways, at the end of each chapter or module, you have a chapter review that's kind of supposed to prepare you for the test, and then you have a test on that chapter. Each week, we're going to have weekly discussions that I'd like you're going to post your response to whatever prompt I'm asking you, and then you'll also reply to 2 peers. So you're going to want to write down the discussion, the name of the discussion, the number of the discussion, if I give you a number, and let yourself know, well, I replied to the initial prompt, but I didn't reply to my peers yet or whatnot, because Canvas is not really good about letting you know which discussions you have completed and which ones you have not completed, or which in the completion process, did you reply to the peers already or did you not? Or so I, as a student, when I took online classes, I had to keep track of that myself because Canvas isn't good at indicating whether you've completed its discussions or not. And I don't always grade those right away. So it may appear in the grade book that you have no grade, that you have not submitted it, but actually you did, I just didn't grade it yet. So just to let you know for those discussions. So you might be thinking, how do I start my assignments? So you can click, all of the assignments are located under modules. So just go to the left-hand column here and click on modules. There's a start here module that if you click on how to get started, then I have a video here that helps you register for MyMathLab. If you don't have the funds to purchase MyMathLab yet, they do have a free 2-week trial that you can, when you go in and you say I'm purchasing, then there's at the very bottom, you'll see there's a little free 2-week trial. It's like 14-day trial. You click on that and then it'll let you have access for 2 weeks until, so just a little bit longer until you can get the funds together to pay for it. And then you could just upgrade that later. And I have a link here below. It says how to upgrade from temporary access. So you stay with one account. And you get to keep all of your assignments that you completed under your temporary access. Then I have a link here that says how to complete assignments and how to access the textbook. And I'll sort of show you a little bit how to do those two things right now. But the class hasn't started yet, so it's not letting me open any of the other assignments. So these are more detailed where it's, even though these are done, somebody else was doing a different class. It's the same idea and these are more detailed pictures of what you're actually going to be seeing and how to actually submit your answers and stuff like that. I'm going to show you right here in our class, but it's going to tell me, oh, you can't enter the assignment yet. So anyways, this is where you're going to get more detailed instructions on how to do those. So let's go find the assignments. I click on modules, back on modules, and here it shows you every chapter, which is, so here's chapter 1. And until I publish the chapters, they're not visible to you. So there's actually like 10 to 15 chapters. So this page right now only has start here in chapter 1. So eventually you'll see modules chapter 2 and modules for chapter 3 and so on appear. And see, I click on start here and there's where the textbook is. So you can click on the textbook link and then you click on like open. It makes me click on Open Pearson. It makes me like some kind of user agreement. So I just click on accept. If I get to the bottom of this. And then it makes me log into my account. And I think it's just the first time that you either access the textbook or access a homework assignment that they make you log in. So let's see if I just sign in. And then I think it'll just automatically try to get you to register, which is what I was talking about, to register for MyMathLab. So you can purchase one at the library, like to purchase the access code, and then you just enter it here by clicking on an access code. Or you can purchase it right here. You should just like click on, MyMathLab with Pearson eText up to 24 months. You just click here and purchase it. Oh, and it says MyMathLab with Pearson eText up to 18 weeks. Okay, so it looks like they have the ebook here. So that's so $79.99 would probably be the option that I would choose. Like I said, I don't know which one, if any, like include that app, or maybe the app is just, anyways. I'll let you guys figure out that app if you're really into it. So you would, then then you would access this code and sign in, and then you'd be able to see your textbook. I'm going to show you the textbook on my side because I already signed in. So I exited student view. This is from my viewpoint. When I click, okay, so I was in modules and I clicked on how to get started. No, I clicked on textbook. Then now I click on Open Pearson. And if you already have signed in the past and already have registered for MyMathLab, then this is what comes up. You just go to the chapter that you're working on. So like we're chapter 1, that's the first chapter that we're going to be working on. And then the section that you want to read. And then you click, and then they have PowerPoints for this section. They have videos. You can click select all so you can see everything. Or if you're just interested in seeing the textbook by itself, then you can just check the box next to multimedia textbook and press find now. And then you can click on the link, the blue highlight link. And it takes a few minutes, but here is the textbook. So I believe if we back, okay, so this is, I think, the first page. Here's the first page of chapter 1. It's like an introduction to chapter 1. And I think if we go back from here, this is, okay, like the beginning of the textbook. And so anyways, you can go back and forth on next pages to get to any page. Like I'm using these little arrows. You can also highlight the bottom page and go click on, I want to go to like page 10, right? So that's another way to get yourself around this textbook. So if I scroll down, I notice that 1.1 starts right here. So if I wanted to read 1.1, I could start reading here, all this section, and I would take notes if I were you during this section while you're reading. And that's how you get to your textbook. You actually, even though we clicked on section 1.1, actually the whole textbook and a table of contents is available in this left-hand column with the little lines and dots. And so I can actually jump around anywhere in the textbook. So I was in chapter 1, but I could have jumped to chapter 2. Now, I believe each section has like extra problems. Let's look. Oh yeah, exercises. We have exercises at the end of chapter 1. There's extra exercises. So see how there's 1.6, there's a conclusion page, there's a key concepts that you can kind of review all the key concepts, then there's exercises. So I know for me as a student, it was really important after I finished doing the homework, if I wanted to study for the test, I always wanted to work on extra problems. So you're going to be doing online prefabricated homework for you, but and I don't know why it's not, oh, it's going through the pages. Okay. All right, let's just go to here. I'm not sure what it's not. This program is a little bit angry at me right now. I must am clicking around too quickly, I'm sure. Okay, I think it's skipping because I think there's exercises are found at the end of each section. It appears. So here's, oh dear. I'm gonna try to make it stop. And sometimes you just have to click out of it or whatnot. Like, I'm just gonna end the textbook. Yeah, it's kind of gone crazy on me. Anyways, it sounds like at the end of each section, there's some homework problems, and I'm sure at the end of probably the back of this book, you can find. Let me just try to find it for you. The answers to those extra problems. So here's the table of contents. So if I go to the very end, it says answers to selected exercises. So let's just quickly try to go to the end of section 1.1. This is page 6. Page 7. Oh no. They do not have exercises right after the end of each little section. I believe it's at the end of the chapter. That's probably where the extra exercises, yeah. So at the end of the whole chapter on page 29, there's 1.1 exercises. Then there is 1.2 extra exercises and so on. And like I said, then you can go to the very bottom where it says answers to selected exercises, and you could find the answers to these. So that's the textbook. Let me close that. And so I'm going to go back to, it opened a tab at the top. So I'm just going to go back to the classroom by the FCC textbook and go back to modules. Now, how do you get to the homework? So I can open up chapter 1, and then I can click on the first assignment. These are online assignments. So this will automatically take you to my math lab. Although I don't think it will at this moment because we shouldn't have access to it. The class hasn't started yet. So anyways, I would click on Open Pearson, and what it should do is it will be opening the assignment. But right now it says you can't have access because it's not the 8th yet, but it'll open the assignment and you can start submitting your answers and working on your problems. So to see more info, I have so many tabs here. Okay. So to see more info, like I said, to see the actual pictures of what it looks like and how to submit your answers and stuff like that, you can click on the Start Here button and see this video to see more detail on that. But all of your graded assignments here have due dates below them, and I believe they're in green. And so assignments, no, they're not in green. Everything's in green that's published, but the ones that have that are graded assignments have due dates to them. So this 1.1 lecture does not have, you don't get any points for that. You just are watching the lecture. So their first grade assignment is your My Math Lab orientation homework, and then an arithmetic review homework. And then it's, then you're going to watch a video for section 1.1. So I'm going to click on the video, and you just click on the big red button to watch it. And then once you're done watching it, then you can click on next at the bottom, or you can just click on modules to get back to the modules page to do the next thing and on the homework list, and that is to complete the homework. So you're gonna be doing that for each section, watching the video and then doing the homework. And if there's any discussions, then I'm going to place them right in here with where all, in line with all the assignments here. So they're all ordered from first assignment due to last assignment due in the class. And as I publish and create more assignments, then they will become available. Your chapter review is just at the bottom of will be found at the bottom of each module. And the chapter test is very similar to the homework, and it's also going to be available here in chapter 1 module at the bottom. Don't freak out. Sometimes I don't have it posted until like the day of the test, or like really close to the actual test date as listed on the syllabus course outline. So don't freak out if you don't see it. It's going to be here at the bottom of each module, within each module. So literally all of the assignments that you're going to have and resources that you need to are listed here in line of order that you need to be completing them. If you don't see something, if something is not appearing for you, let me know. Maybe I just didn't publish it on my end yet. So once in a while. I think I published something and it just didn't publish. It just didn't register. So let me know. All right. So that's how to do all of your assignments. Just to let you know, I did put a late policy. So you are allowed, the good news is you are allowed to submit your assignments late. After that is after the due date, you'll have access to submitting them. The homework assignments are, you're penalized a 20% penalty for late work. And that's only on the problems, exact problems that you submitted late. So if you opened it and you did half of the assignment and you turned in half of that assignment on time, then you will get your full credit for those problems. And then it's only the problems that you submit after the deadline that you would get wrong. Or you're not wrong, but you're going to get only 20% on, well, no. I'm sorry. You're going to get 80% of your credit on any problems and homework problems submitted after the due date. So even if you can, what I would do if I were you is I would get in there, just try to do as many problems as you can. Maybe it's late at night. You're like, oh gosh, I forgot this is due. Get in there, do as many as you can. And if you only have one left or two left, or then you can just submit those later for partial points. Also, the tests are the same way. You can access them after their due date, and I'm just taking 5% off your score, and just to give you a little bit extra motivation to make sure to get those done on time. So if you need extra help in the class, there is also an optional textbook. It's right here. This one's kind of nice because it's you don't need any access for it or anything. It's just you, and there's extra. If you go into this optional textbook, there's, I think it's starts on page 35, but there's voting theory. So the same thing that we're be learning in our chapter 1. So I think this book is not structured, chapter 1 doesn't line up with chapter 1 in our book, but you can find the concepts. And some definitions, they may call it a preference table and not a preference schedule like our textbook does, but it's the same ideas. And the biggest thing that I wanted to provide this book for you guys, this optional book, is because they have extra problems, just like that you see. I think that at the end of each chapter or section, they have extra exercise problems, a lot like our textbook. And at the very end of this textbook, they have the answers to the odd questions. So it's just giving you more extra examples, worked out examples in the text, and also practice problems. If you are also struggling and you need extra help, you can click on this link in the left-hand column. Fresno City College FCC tutorial services. These are absolutely free. And I believe even some of them have online. I don't know if they have their hours yet posted. But yeah, the first day of math tutoring in person will start Wednesday, January 10th. All tutoring options will start on Tuesday, January 16th. So it looks like they probably have not posted their, I don't know if they posted, oh yeah, there's their hours of operation. So if you go in, most likely they're going to have a tutor that will be able to help you. And I believe they also have online tutoring. And like I said, it's free, and you can access it right from our Canvas classroom. Oh, and then on my website, on the home page, let's go back to the home page. Also know that you can go to khanacademy.org. It's a wonderful free website as reliable math topics. You can put in anything, adding fractions or whatnot, or you could put in voting methods or, just the topic of our chapter, and you can find videos of the topic of the section that you're in, like board account method or whatever, and see. I'm not sure if they have modern mathematics honestly in there, but they do have a lot of mathematics topics and science topics, that free educational videos that are reliable. So, and then also I do know this man, this guy is another math professor at the junior college, and he has made tons of videos, and they're very reliable. And the website is Math is Power for You. And he does have modern mathematics, and contemporary mathematics in his, videos. So they're excellent. And actually I use some of them for the lectures at here, and it's James Sousa, so I give credit to James Sousa. There's also extra, okay, wait. Oh, and then if you need help, you can always message me through Canvas. Here's my contact information. Here's my email address. It's just my first dot last name at fresnocitycollege.edu. You can actually text message me or call me if you have a question or concern. It's okay. Don't hesitate to call me or text me. I do I like it when students care, about their grades and want to do the best they can. And I know if you're really stressed about something and, oh, this assignment isn't posting and it's due today or something, and text me, like call me, or if you're having trouble submitting something, you can text me and call me. You could also message me through Canvas. This is a link on how to communicate through Canvas. You can also you should be able to message students that are in your same section in Canvas too. So the students that you're going to be meeting through our class discussions, you can message them later through Canvas if you have a question for them, and make them and study with them through Zoom, or through meet with them in person and study with them. Also, I can meet with you on Zoom or in person, and there's also and I have the link on the syllabus to my Zoom classroom, and I can help you with problems in Zoom too. And there is something called GRASP. I don't know if they probably started the first or second week of school, but it's literally where a bunch of teachers hang out and they tutor students. It's walk-in tutoring. So definitely you can use, it's called GRASP, and it's in the science building at Fresno City College. And I'm not sure what room they're holding it in. They held it in S25 last semester, so I'm not sure what, but you have to wait, and I'll be sending out the flyer. Like I usually send out the flyer with information of when and where GRASP will be held. That's a great resource available to you for you to get extra help. All right. I think I shared everything. So if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. You can either email me, like I said, text me or call me, or communicate, or you can, click on the inbox in Canvas and message me. And so here's the directions. You click on this link on how to message me and other people in the class. All right, it was great talking to you guys, and I really hope to see you guys all succeed in this semester. All right, have a good day. Bye.